Steven. What's up, man?
Not much, Cody. How you doing today, brother?
I'm pretty good. It's not raining today, so I'm ready to get outside a little bit. Maybe I already mowed a little bit. About to mow
Oh,
20
I
acres
need
in
to,
just
I
a
need to do
second.
that. My yard is awful right now. It's mowed all week. It was actually sunny today, but I didn't get to it. So, but yeah, my yard is atrocious at the moment, man.
Mine was too, and it's just been like a week, I swear. I mowed last week, and I rushed like crazy to get that lawn mowed this morning with my daughter, 3-year-old daughter, right beside me mowing.
Oh, cool.
Walking next to me playing around. But anyways, thanks for being on, dude. Can you tell me your first and last name, the name of the place, the location, kind of go over the classes you guys offer, that kind of stuff? Just tell me about the place.
Yeah, man. So I'm Stephen Owens. I own Valhalla Martial Arts here in Alexandria, Alabama. We are a MMA school that focuses primarily on Jiu Jitsu. So we've got 3 Jiu Jitsu classes in the mornings at like 5:30 a.m. throughout the week. We're about to add some striking classes to pair with them, and then we run evening classes. I've got kids from potty trained up, split into 3 different development groups based on kind of age, kind of skill, and behavior. Discipline wise. And then the adults, we've got beginner all the way up to advanced classes. The adults have at least 2, if not 3 classes a day. Every single day except for Sundays. Sundays we're closed. We do a lot of private lessons on Sundays, but we don't have any group classes on Sundays. But every other day of the week, we've got something going on at least twice a day for the grown-ups. But we got a
Awesome.
couple of hiking classes out there, but mostly jujitsu based.
Cool. I love the name. How did you come up with the name?
Man, I
Just
just
sounds
always was
cool.
kind of, yeah. Well, I was fascinated with. I'm not like I've had a couple of people. Gosh, all right, they're gonna clip this. I've had a couple of people been like, "Are you a white supremacist?" And I'm like, "No, it's nothing like that." I've always thought the concept of Valhalla as the afterlife for the warrior class to be neat. Like, so, like we meet up here, we have fun, we talk our crap in the back room while we're getting dressed, and then after class and we go out there, we beat each other up, kind of like in the idea of Valhalla. You wake up and you feast, and then you battle your friends for fun until everybody's
Yeah.
dead, and then you wake up and you do it again. And I thought that
Okay.
was just
Makes sense.
a neat idea, but yeah, so that's where I came up with it. So
Oh, I love it. It's not just because it's cool. It's cool too. But yeah, it makes sense, man. Thank you for that story. That makes sense. It really does. That's cool, man. Um, did it take you a long time to come up with a name, or was it like
I guess I probably thought about it for years before I started a gym, and I had a couple of things bouncing in my head, but that was one I think I came up with that one probably 2 or 3 years, like my future gym. That I think that's what I'm going to call it. So I kind of already had that in my pocket for when I was ready. So.
cool, dude? Can you tell me? Can start as far back as you want. To kind of tell me like your personal jujitsu story.
Yeah. Well, so I thought I wanted to join a Muay Thai gym, and I settled for jujitsu. So, like, if you get online about like what's the best martial art, well, like it's like Muay Thai, the art of 8 limbs, and so I had a really rough upbringing. So I was this like angry kid that wanted to like prove something, and I wanted to be an MMA fighter, and I thought Muay Thai was going to be the best thing to help me with that. And not to knock Muay Thai, like I've trained with a lot of Thai fighters and kickboxers, and like I'm a pretty good striker at this point. But I'm fortunate that the only thing within reasonable distance for me to train at was a jujitsu gym, and so I thought I was settling for jujitsu. And then when I realized what it was about and how useful it is, and how to apply it in a cage fight, I'm very fortunate for that. But that's basically I stumbled into a jujitsu gym one day, not knowing what I was looking for, and thinking it was going to be kind of lame, but I loved it, and I'm so fortunate that it happened that way because if you watch my fights, jujitsu is how I win them. So that's
Mm.
for me.
So this is an interesting topic, jiu-jitsu, let's say versus Muay Thai, because from a outsider looking in, to me it seems to be the two that are most effective.
Yeah,
Um, Muay Thai being because of the you said 8, is that the number? But
yeah.
using all your limbs. Um,
Fists, elbows, knees, feet.
what do you have to say about Muay Thai versus jiu-jitsu?
So
Is
I'll
there
put it.
something you can Yeah.
All things being equal, if you have a pure jujitsu fighter versus a pure Muay Thai fighter in a locked room, and both of them have like the same level of mental determination and grit, the jujitsu guy overwhelmingly is going to find a way to strangle the Thai fighter to death. Like that's just how it's going to be. Any like, listen, I've met jujitsu guys who are soft-willed, is a nice way to put it. That like if you hit them in the face, they might
Yeah.
cower. But typically, typically that is not the case. And if you've got someone like, even if they
When we're
completely
talking MMA
ignore,
here, yeah,
yeah, yeah, but like even
competition,
if
yeah.
you took like two hobbyists, the Thai fighter will probably light the jujitsu guy up on the way in, but as soon as the jujitsu guy inevitably gets his hands on the Thai fighter, it's going to be pretty quick to where he's probably going to take his back and he's going to choke him unconscious, and
That was
that'll
gonna
be
be my next question. How does it usually, from your
sure.
experience, what you've
Uh,
seen, I know this is
It's
just one experience.
yeah,
Everybody
it's
calm down.
each they're
But
smart. If they're smart, it's going to be chokes. That's the way. Yeah.
how does but what I was saying,
Oh,
when the jujitsu guy goes in, how does it usually happen? If you're doing, like, like, let's say 20 fights, jujitsu, only Muay Thai, the jujitsu guy goes in, how would, like, most of those, instances, those moments happen when the
yeah.
jujitsu guy goes in?
If he's smart at all or determined, he's gonna cover his face and he's gonna close. He'll probably eat something that hurts. He might get stunned. He might get kicked and then catch it and then fall down holding that guy's ankle and then climb him up, eat some elbows, eat some hammer fists while he's holding onto that guy's leg, and then he's gonna tip him over, and then he's gonna crawl on top, and then the Muay Thai guy is probably going to do something stupid like turn over onto his stomach to try to get up, and that's going to be the end of it. And if not, then the jujitsu guys. It turns out like any striking art out there absolutely has no efficacy on the floor. And what I mean is you can't bob and weave. If you're a boxer, and you're mounted by somebody, not a single bit of your boxing training will help you at all. And the same goes for any striking art. If you are stuck in a bad position underneath a grappler, they don't have anything in their art at all that would differentiate them from just an athletic person who is untrained. They will react exactly the same as an untrained person in those circumstances. They might be very athletic because of their training, but it's not going to be, it would be just like wrestling a bodybuilder or wrestling some other type of athlete that doesn't have any training, a CrossFitter or something. They might be explosive and they might do something, really powerful, especially while they still have energy before they're tired. But odds are they're just going to make the same exact mistakes as an untrained person. And that's kind of how it goes.
So it would be a matter of, like, how fast the jujitsu guy closes the distance.
I don't
That would
even
be the
think it's
biggest. Go ahead.
Yeah, I even think it's about that. If the jujitsu guy is scared to close, then he might get pieced up and eventually knocked unconscious. But it's not even really about speed. It's more so about, does he cover his face as best he can, and is he just
Okay.
determined? Once you grab onto a limb of a striker that doesn't have any grappling skills, you've pretty much shut down everything. Like don't just hug his waist and look down at the knees about to hit you in the face, but if the grappler, if I grab hold of an arm or a leg or a waist, once I get to a clinch position, I know Thai fighters fight from the clinch. They don't do takedowns from the clinch. All right. Like, so I might eat a knee, catch it, it hurts, and then he's gonna fall. That's typically, now if the jujitsu, if you got a guy who doesn't practice takedowns at all, if it could be a little bit different. But if he's coming from a good academy, and even if he doesn't practice a lot of takedowns, like you grab hold of an untrained person's legs and just lean into them, they often just fall. Like that, it really is sometimes that simple. Getting control of some limb negates most of the striking. You know, they can hit you with the one hand, but it takes away their mobility, and inevitably you're going to lock up with them and get them to the floor.
I know this is getting away from the story, but I think it's really cool. I have another question. What is your thought on, implementing wrestling into jujitsu as far as we're talking about, the takedown, the initial takedown?
Yeah, super important to not ignore your takedowns. So when people say implement wrestling, you've got to modify it. You've got to learn how to take shots without exposing the guillotine. Like that's one of the first things I've got. Like I've met a lot of like champion high school wrestlers, collegiate wrestlers that can now I've gotten to be I'm a pretty good wrestler at this point, but there's guys out there. If I play them in pure wrestling rules, it's extremely hard for me to take them down. But so I often in like a jujitsu scenario, and I know the other guy is a phenomenal wrestler that doesn't know submissions. I wait for the shot. I don't even bother attempting to sprawl. As soon as they hit my legs, I just sit and grab the neck. And if they don't understand how to protect their neck, they often just hand over guillotines like left and right. Like the best wrestlers in the world get guillotined by like athletic blue belts on a regular basis. And when they learn how to keep their neck in a position where the guillotine is difficult to finish, or when they stop doing like a wrestler, I'll take a wrestler down, and often their instinct is to go to their belly because they don't want their shoulders to get pinned. And then I just take their back and choke them. Once they become comfortable with the idea of letting their shoulders be on the floor and utilizing some semblance of a guard. When they modify their head position when they're shooting to avoid guillotines, and when there's certain things like a Peterson, if I'm addressing like turtle and they like reach through to grab my leg to do a Peterson roll, they put me on bottom and put themselves into a crucifix position. So yeah, my you've made my shoulders touch the floor and I'm pinned, but now I'm strangling you or hitting you with elbows. I've got your back and both your arms. So what does that, so once they learn to kind of to change some of those things, and then there's like wrestling, all the takedowns that I teach, I like to play like I'll do some sports stuff, but I like to when I teach my guys takedowns, I like to pay homage to the striking aspect. So there's a lot of takedowns that are never going to be open in a striking scenario, so you've got to like like my takedowns are simple. I don't do a ridiculous amount of complicated setups. I use a lot of very simple old school takedowns, like standard double leg, single leg options, high C's, arm drags to the back, duck unders to the back, things like that. They work really well in striking context. And and it's not to say that it's like you can complicate those things by doing them in more sophisticated ways. So I don't have to just do an obvious, like, no setup shot to a double leg. I can tie up with the guy, hand fight with him, do a lot of things to off balance him. Your Kazushis, like constantly test things and get them off balanced and then hit those simple ones. But when people are trying a lot of like folk style wrestling takedowns, you've got to remember like what the position you're standing in, is that going to be good for a striking like altercation, like a street fight. When people get a super low wrestling base, it's like, well, now you're at risk for getting soccer kicked in the teeth when you're doing that. And if the guy doesn't match your level, you've got an open shot to his legs and it's hard for him to sprawl, but he can also kick you in the teeth. And if you're not thinking in that regard. So that like upper body, I like to start on the upper body. I don't like to shoot from a distance. So like, and I've never been good at it. Like I get sprawled on a lot. If I shoot from 3 or 4 foot away, like it gives the guy a lot of time to sprawl on you. So I like to lock up and get close with our torsos, get my hips close, and then level change. And so that's kind of my philosophy on takedowns, is to go ahead and tie up and lock up with a person and not shoot from a distance, and to keep it simple,
Uh-huh.
get him off balanced first and then do something simple.
And can you tell everybody what a guillotine is?
Yeah,
And then they
so a
can go back and
guillotine,
listen to that part.
it's a headlock, but it's a headlock for you guys. So basically, somebody facing me, if they were to lean forward and I were to just grab them straight up by the neck like this and lift, that's a guillotine more or less. There's lots of different ways to apply a guillotine, and lots of positions that you can apply it from. Technically,
And
you
a
can do a
guillotine
guillotine
is
with
a
your arm.
submission technique, or is it,
Yeah, to choke them unconscious. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So a
yeah,
guillotine,
you're actually
just
pulling up
a
to choke them. Yeah, yeah, okay.
yeah, it's a chokehold, you know. So
Yeah,
as
chokehold.
the untrained like to say, yeah,
That's what,
yeah,
Hulk Hogan would do, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
let's get back to the story. Where were we?
That's your
Where
job, bro. I'm just kidding. You're leading this dance.
where were we as far as you started, you were y you felt like you, just kind of fell into jujitsu. It was a second choice, and then you started to understand, the value in it, right?
Yeah, so I guess the Street Fighter philosophy. So like I grew up like at 13 I was living by myself and in a really trashy ghetto situation. And I guess the Street Fighter mentality is when you're the little guy, because I am, like, I'm 130 pounds and I've always been small. So when you're the little guy, the Street Fighter philosophy is you got to be fast. Don't let the big guy grab you. If the big guy grabs you, you're screwed, you know? So you got to like bob and weave and don't let him hit you. Fast forward 10 years, you know, and having a amateur and professional career cage fighting and sparring all over the southeast and visiting, you know, dozens and dozens of gyms. As it turns out, that's stupid. I don't care. Like, listen, maybe I'm not saying I can't outstrike a bigger person by being faster than them. Yes, that is my advantage if I'm forced to box somebody or forced to kickbox somebody who's much larger than me. But in my experience, if I've got a guy who's 240 pounds lean, that's jacked, and he's super tough. Look, a lot of big guys, a lot of untrained big guys, from my experience, if I hit them a few times and split them open and they start bleeding, they don't want to fight anymore. But if it were a situation where he doesn't care about, he's maybe he doesn't know how to fight, but he's a really tough guy who's been hurt in a fight before and he's not afraid to keep fighting after he's been injured. The issue is I can cut up a big guy, like all of my punches are going to draw blood, but they don't have the concussive force when that guy's got a neck this thick around and he's made of iron. It would be very difficult for me to knock him unconscious, even if I get clean shot after clean shot.
Mm,
All he needs is a lucky sloppy punch, right? And like all I need to do is screw up one little time, and I could be waking up or not waking up if you know if he decided to kill me after knocking me unconscious, right? So the cool thing is about jujitsu is there's no such thing as a lucky triangle choke. You don't accidentally triangle choke somebody, and you can, even between, like, you say, well, like a boxer, but there's no such thing as a lucky punch. There is a little bit. There is a little bit. There's a puncher's chance, right? When you're having a sloppy street fight, where if you just he does something weird and unexpected, right? I don't care how trained you are. I spar guys all the time who have no clue what they're doing, and I'm being light and controlled, and then they get frustrated and they do some silliness that, like, just like they make up some BS on the fly and it touches me. And I'm like, you know, that happens. But
yeah.
if I use my grappling, my superior knowledge of jujitsu and of grappling, I mean, I've thrown guys 300, I can hip toss a 300-pound man. So I know it sounds like I don't have to be, and it's not that I'm strong. I can't deadlift 300 pounds, but I can throw a 300-pound man. And it's not about lifting him in the air over my head. It's about tipping him over. If I can lean into a giant behemoth of a man and he shifts all his weight onto one leg, it's very easy to tip him over my hips and to just fold him over and let gravity do all of the work for me. And once I've positioned myself on somebody, in the right position, whether it be like side control or mount or the back. I love crucifix. And so once I position myself there, the strength is taken, the strength advantage is negated quite a bit. So there's a reason why in grappling tournaments like jujitsu, it's very common for athletes to compete in what we call open weight. So there's guys like Marcelo Garcia is a very famous individual. He won IBJJF Worlds I think 3 years in a row in his younger days, and he was 145 pounds, and he won it at absolute. So some of the guys he was competing against were well over 200 pounds. Some of those guys were 300 pounds. Typically, the more athletic ones were, under 260. Most of the guys bigger than that weren't lean, but like this dude is 140 pounds and he's strangling guys that are 260-pound behemoths, not fat guys, but like monsters, right? And he's strangling those dudes. So as it turns out, even though yes, strength is an advantage, strength is far more the more explosive the art is, the more effective the strength differential becomes. So when we're just slugging bones at each other, it's like fighting. It's like if I've got a 22 uh, rifle versus somebody who's got like just a large caliber gun from a far distance. Like that dude has a huge advantage, but like at point blank. I mean, it just comes down to who points it at the other guy's head first. And
Yeah.
I think that in fighting, that's a really important thing to think about. If I'm boxing, and even when I'm just boxing a larger person, if they're longer than me, I don't want to play this back and forth trying to tag each other game with a guy whose arms are like a foot longer than mine. It's like it's not fair. I want to get up close to him. I want to put my forehead up against his chest and beat him in the ribs, and that makes it clunky for him, and it just furthers it's a lot. It's even better when I'm allowed to grab him and climb him and knock him down and crawl all over him. It takes away that size and that strength advantage. So that's why I think jujitsu is so beautiful.
So what about just like your overall like kind of you've competed, can you tell me about kind of like how that's gone over the years?
Yeah. So I started after training jujitsu for a while. I started competing, and I was doing really good at white and blue belt. Sorry, there's a fly in here.
I
People are gonna
saw it
make
for a
fun of.
second. I saw it. Yeah. You
I'm waiting.
touched him and you said bye
I'm
bye.
ready, dude. Yeah, yeah, it keeps
Gave
coming
him a
back.
tickle.
But I've competed really heavily in the Southeast, and so at blue belt, I was basically going into regional competitions and just winning. And I was like, all right, let me try my hand at a higher level of competition. So I competed at
This is MMA
IBJJ.
or jiu-jitsu only?
Jiu-jitsu still. Yeah,
Okay.
jiu-jitsu at the time, and so I went to IBJJF Worlds, and, I didn't podium, but I won a couple of matches there, and then the dude that I lost to got, like, promoted on the podium, and I was like, "Alright, I'm pretty good at jiu-jitsu," and I was looking at the MMA fighters in the region, the amateurs in the region, and I was like, "I'm gonna submit all of these jokers." And I just jumped into the amateur MMA scene after that, and had a field day for quite a while before turning pro. So I was 7-1 as an amateur, and then as a professional now I'm 2-1. And so, but yeah, it was jujitsu that carried me through most of my fights. It was like honestly my last 3 or 4, I wasn't comfortable striking in the cage until, like, my last 3 or 4 amateur fights, and even, like, if you watch my professional fights, I'm a jujitsu guy. Like, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna hit him, but I'm not there to have a striking fight. I'm there to take him down and make it a messy ground and pound scramble situation. I'm gonna be on that guy constantly. I don't have slow fights. It is if we make it the distance, we're exhausted by the second round, and I just don't stop. I'm just get close, get close, get close. I like a brawl, so I like it sloppy. I like to get the other guy flustered. I don't want to have this slow, crisp timing game where the other guy can maybe spot holes in my striking knowledge. I want to make him move. I want to make him uncomfortable, and I want it super fast paced because then they start to make mistakes and they don't have time to read me.
And do you enjoy competing in MMA more than you did only
Yes.
jiu-jitsu? And why
Yeah.
why is that?
Both very fun. Well, I guess so. at first I was just an angry kid, and it's like it's fun to bounce people's heads off the floor, and but later on it's not even that anymore. But I feel I personally as a fighter, I'm better when I can mix striking in with my grappling.
Mhm.
There's just my style. It works really well for me. I felt,
Nice.
and it feels so much more rewarding. So like when I win a jujitsu tournament, it's like, I mean, it feels good. Like you feel great winning a jujitsu tournament, but when you go out there and there's 20 matches going on at once, and there's like a crowd of people that are there to see their guy, and they're just kind of like not focusing on you. It's not about you at the it's a, I mean
Yeah.
it's about, you might have some people there for you that are get excited when you win, but it's not as big of a deal. But
Yeah,
when
and
you
tell
do
everybody
a
how jujitsu, competitions are. Just hit on that really for 1 second. You're
yeah,
talking about all of them going on at once.
yeah, so it's kind of similar to like wrestling tournaments. Now at like a higher stage, there might be just one match at a time, where the whole crowd kind of focuses in on one guy or one pair. But typically, even at the larger tournaments, until you get to like the black belt world champion stage, right? They'll have a huge building full of mats and multiple referees, and the mats are segmented into zones, and there'll be matches going on in tons of different spots within that room as the tournament goes on, and you may have multiple matches depending on how you expect multiple matches depending on how many people are in your bracket. It's divided by experience level and weight class. You can compete in the open weight division like I talked about earlier, so the smaller guys can try their hand at beating up the bigger guys, but they have it divided also further into age groups. So it's like age, um, weight class, and then experience level. So belt rank. And in Nogi, they do like time trained, like years worth of training, and anything over like 6 years is expert. But they divide it by three tiers, and basically you go in there, and you often it's single elimination. And so if you lose a match, you're out of the tournament. If you make it to like semifinals, some tournaments have different rules in that, but if you make it to semifinals and lose within the semifinals, you might have a opportunity to compete for second place, and like the loser gets bronze out of that match. But typically, if you lose early on in a jiu-jitsu tournament, you're out. And so you just see how many matches in a row you can win.
And of course,
And
when you're talking about jujitsu tournament, quote unquote, you're talking about one event where the whole tournament takes place at one
yes,
time, in one day.
usually it's one day. Some of the larger tournaments will be a 2-day event, but typically it's just a one day tournament. And basically within the span of several hours, your division will come up and be done. So
Mm.
you'll have a start time to come in and check in and weigh in, and then now they've got a system called, most tournaments use Smooth Comp now, which is awesome. Because back in the day, they would tell you to like your division is supposed to start at this time, but you have to be here 2 hours early, and then you just end up waiting around forever. Sometimes they often run late. But now there's like this app that most of the tournaments use that is like updates the brackets
Uh,
live, gives you a
yeah.
much more realistic time frame for when you're supposed to go up, so you can warm up
Okay.
at an appropriate time instead
Yeah.
of warming up way early and then like getting stiff and waiting. And
And
so
they're shaking it out.
helps. Yeah. Then you get which the jujitsu tournaments I don't really get nervous for anymore. Even the fights, like I mean, I do get nervous for the fights, but the jujitsu tournaments, like I don't even like, I feel like a normal day. Like I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the word, like, I mean, you can get hurt people do get hurt in jujitsu tournaments, but like the odds of me getting hurt in a
yeah.
jujitsu tournament are pretty low. Like if I get caught in something dangerous, like I have an opportunity to tap out and stop the match, and I'm not getting punched or hit. You might accidentally get struck, but like I'm not really concerned about my health when I do a jujitsu tournament. But when you're doing a cage fight, and I've been the main event or co-main event a lot of
All eyes are
times,
on you, that's a
yeah,
part of
all
it, and that's
night,
where you're hitting
yeah,
on.
all night you're backstage and guys, because they separate the corners, so like there's a red corner and a blue corner typically, and so all night you'll see guys from your corner leave, and then some of them come back happy because they won, but some of them come back with their nose sideways and their eyes swollen shut, and their like wife crying and holding on to them, and they're like trying not to cry in front of people,
So
and
that's
like teeth will
psychological,
be
right?
knocked out, and it's like,
Yeah,
that could be me. That could be me.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then the crowd is cheering about it,
yeah,
it's like, wow, so
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's a little more, it's more humiliating when you lose a cage fight, but it's also a lot more rewarding when you win it, if that makes sense.
Of
It's
course,
a very
it's a lot more closer to a real fight, a real street fight, of
it
course,
it's
because,
it is.
yeah,
Is I'm trying to murder him in there. It's, like, there's some rules, but, it's as yeah,
as
it's,
close as it
I
gets as far as
Yeah,
competition. Yeah.
and that in fact, I think it's worse than a real fight. Now
Mm.
maybe not always, but, like, what I mean is, like, obviously a street fight, the stakes are higher because you don't know if that dude's gonna pull out a
Yeah.
weapon or kill you. But, like, look at it this way. If you were gonna die, would you rather, if there was nothing you could do to stop it and someone was gonna just pull out a gun and kill you, would you rather it be a surprise, or would you rather wait for, like,
Yeah.
months with people talking about it, and then, like, the day of, you're just, like, marched around with some dude following you to make sure you're not gonna leave or whatever, and then, like, then you walk out in front of a crowd of people cheering about you. I'd rather be some random dude run up on me if I knew it was just gonna be a fair fight. I wouldn't want someone to run up on me with a knife or something, but I would rather, as far as like my emotional state and the stress it causes me, rather have some crazy person just run up and punch me and then get to scrapping, so I don't have to think about it for months in advance, I
Yeah.
guess it causes a lot of stress, dude. It's very stressful.
So tell me, like, what is jujitsu to you? Like, what has it done for you from, people
It
who just don't know much about it? What has it done for you?
It has completely changed my worldview. And so, like, listen, and maybe it's not for everybody, but especially the coaching side of it. So, jujitsu is a weird place where, like, you're gonna get a very strange mixture of people. Like the people that gravitate towards jujitsu, you get the like myself. I was a very angry ghetto kid, right? Like I was Uh, pretty upset at the world, and I had just had like I had a bad impression of police officers, kind of rightfully so. That's a different story, but I had been at the mercy of some awful people in uniform a couple of times in my life, and I absolutely hated all police officers. And then as it turned, like, so those types of people, though, like when you go into a jujitsu gym, it's like military, police officers, and then like stoner, surfer bra, like hood dudes. They all come to the same place because they all want to learn how to fight. And so it's like I was like 19 or 20. I was an assistant coach at this place. And there was this 25, 26-year-old police officer who was like jacked. He was like 100 pounds heavier than me. He was like 220, and I was like 120 pounds at the time. And I was like just new to coaching. He was only there for a couple of months. And I have a match with him, and I was like, I'm gonna see how many times I can submit this guy. And I submitted him like a bunch of times, and if I mean like hard, like, and it wasn't even at that point, I wasn't like, I'd already calmed down a little bit. It wasn't like personal because he was a cop, but I was just like, let me see how many times I could submit this guy, so I choked him and like arm locked him. I did a bunch of submissions to him. I got him like 8 times in a 5-minute round, and like he's like exhausted, like breathing heavy, and then the round ends, and we slap hands and bump knuckles, which is kind of the jujitsu thing, and he looked at me and he goes, "Thank you, coach." And that was an earth-shattering moment for me, because it was like, this me and this dude have nothing in common.
Yeah.
Like, and our ways of life are completely opposite. Our views on life, our views, like and I had so many conversations, so that was earth shattering for me. But just meeting all kinds of people from different walks of life, like back in the back room, we'll talk politics while dressing out. We'll talk, people will talk religion, they'll talk politics, they'll talk all kind of stuff. And when you just got done like strangling each other, you don't get mad about stupid minutia, right? Because you guys trust each other. You guys have like built this bond. It's like, even people who are super opinionated online that like demonize whatever opposition it is, like you've got somebody in your family that is the opposite of you that you care about and love, and they're a good person, whether you hate their opinions or not. You forgive your family, but you don't forgive strangers for having like that guy is somebody's family. He's good to somebody. Like we're all bad people in some way, but we almost all of us have some redeeming qualities. And it taught me to be a lot more open minded to people, and to be understanding. And that just allowed me, like I got to kind of put myself into other people's shoes and see why they think the way they do. And it just leveled me out. It leveled me out so much. It made me such a more understanding person. It made me feel a lot more whole. Um, I used to be so angry at the world, so upset about all the things that happened to me, things outside of my control, and it doesn't bother me so much anymore. Jiu-jitsu really helped with that. It also is something for confidence too. It has this effect of leveling people out. So there's typically two extremes that join jujitsu as far as like emotional state. They either join because they are kind of angsty and they're aggressive and they want to learn how to fight better. Like I've had, like, for whatever reason, they're a little bit of an angry person and they want to blow some steam off, right? They want to find an outlet to utilize that. And then on the other end, you get someone who is very scared of the world, that's very easily intimidated, somebody that maybe had been a victim one time too many, and they decided that they want to learn how to protect themselves because they're scared of somebody's made them feel weak or emasculated, and they want to be able to look themselves in the mirror and feel tough. And so you get those two extremes, and the jujitsu has this beautiful way of, for the guys who are really soft, it will give them the confidence they need to walk around and to be able to assert themselves and to not feel anxiety in public or in different situations where that would make them very anxious. It helps them, like, people, I don't think people sometimes scoff and say this is silly, but like just negotiating things in day-to-day life, even when, nobody is even thinking about physical conflict. If you are confident in your ability to physically assert yourself, you will assert yourself better even in non-physical scenarios. Like,
Mm.
so when you're having a business talk with somebody, if you are not like, it really does affect people. But then on the other end, when you're that angry kid and you end up in a position where you're, at some point, if you start to get good, you're going to be asked to help teach, whether they actually put you on as a coach or not. There's going to be a time where you're working with somebody new and helping them. And that, I mean, it's hard to be angry when you've got somebody asking you for help, that you can tell, like, especially when you start helping with the kids, but even the other adults, when you get into that environment and when you realize how fragile we all are, like, you stop being so concerned about wanting to, like, I was like, when I was like a 6 months into jujitsu, I was just hoping some dude would pick a fight with me so I could show off and use it. And then like a year into it, I was like, I don't want that to happen at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that at all. I would rather just be like, no, man, you got it. It's okay. I would much rather diffuse the situation.
Um, what about the academy there? What do people love about it so much?
I think so. Us versus other places. So I think there's a lot of good gyms out there, but I think what makes my academy stand out is we've done a really good job of stopping cliques from forming. It's a very family
Mm.
oriented place. It's a small gym. Which it's gotten larger, but we've, even though we've got like 92 students in this little tiny gym, it gets packed packed
Wow.
sometimes. But We run a lot of classes per day to try to spread it out because we could not fit half of our adult class into this room at the same time. But fortunately, that doesn't happen too often. They come on different days. But I think what our academy does so well is we've got such a tight knit community. So I make it a point, like all of the people who are staff here, like I make sure we make it a point to converse and interact with every student. Like I print off a sheet weekly of all of the students in the academy, and I make sure like we take turns scratching off names, and we'll just have like a phone call, or we'll send, if we're already pretty tight with them, we'll send them a stupid meme. But that way, we check in on our people and like make sure that nobody is feeling alone or left out. We really
Yeah.
try. Like, and it's important to. It's
So
not
it's not
like,
like high school. Yeah.
yeah, it's not like high school. You know, we don't allow people to click up, and
Yeah.
we do
And you have to
we
work at that, right? I mean, that's kinda like a natural humanistic, thing, instinct to do, to click up,
yeah.
and yeah, so you have to work at not letting that happen, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you see that at some of the larger gyms out there. You know, if you visit some like of the academies that have like 300-400 students, and like a lot of times like the most famous academies in the world are a lot of times have a rough culture, like not a fun
Okay.
culture to be part of. So not every jujitsu gym will change your life for the good. Some of them are a little clicky and weird, you know. But so I tell for the people who are listening to this that don't know anything, find every martial arts gym in your driving range and visit all of them. And don't just do a few classes, because different days you'll get different people, different
Yeah.
groups of people. Try to get as like use that free trial at all of them. And if you can avoid committing to a contract before, because I we
Yeah.
don't do contracts at my gym, but a lot of gyms will do like year-long contracts. You know, I don't do that for my people. So the community is kind of leaning away from that now, but still it's
Yeah.
probably 50-50 if the gym will try to lock you into a contract. Make sure you found your place, a place that you fit in well and get along. Like, learn about the instructors. You know, a bad instructor, and when I say a bad instructor, your instructor has to both be good at what they do, but also generally a good person. You know, so
Right.
sometimes there, you know, you want to find a good balance in your instructor, and before you make a long committed decision, because a good jujitsu gym or a good martial arts academy can be the best thing that you ever did for yourself, but it could also leave a bad taste in your mouth if you pick the wrong one, you know?
Well, thanks so much, man. Thank you so much for your perspective on things. I loved hearing about, like the MMA stuff, and like and we talked about the nuance differences, and yeah, and yeah, man. Thank you so much for being on today. It's so nice to meet you, bro.
Yeah,
I
it's
would
very
love
nice
for
to
you to
meet
be
you,
on
Coach.
again, and we can kind of like get an update on how everything's going.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah,
We'd love to
I'm
be
gonna
back
keep
on
following
here
you, man.
again, man. I hope you have a wonderful day. And for the listeners, thank you guys for tuning in.
All right, thanks, Steven. I'll talk to you soon, bro.
All right, man. Peace out.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going today?
Good on yourself.
I'm really good. Thank you, man. Yeah, it's nice to meet you guys. Can you tell me your first and last names, and then also the name of the place and kind of like the location, the classes you guys offer? Just tell me all about the place.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm Kevin Rutkowski, and this is my wife,
I'm Lexi Rutkowski.
Nice to
and
meet you.
our son Hudson Rutkowski as well.
Hey, Hudson, what's up?
Hello.
I was
Uh,
blonde just like you, man. I was blonde when I was a kid. I had white hair when I was born. It was so blonde.
and we're
Look at my
training
hair
out.
now. It's brown now.
Yeah.
Maybe your hair will be that way when you get older. It might turn darker. Nice to meet you, bud.
Hello.
Hello. So the
See,
name of the place?
our gym's called Southern Soul Academy. It's in Mary Esther, Florida. It's right outside of Hurlburt Field.
Okay, okay. Yep, not too far from me. I'm in Pensacola. Not too far at all.
Yeah.
About
Nice. And
45 minutes, right?
yeah, 45 minutes to an hour. We have a lot of different age ranges and a lot of classes. We have classes in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we got classes every evening, Monday through Friday, from I mean, I guess it depends on your age range, and then we have open mats for adults on the weekends. But
Okay.
we do toddlers, we do small kids, and then we do regular kids.
Okay, okay.
We
How
actually
what's
start
the,
at
like,
age 2.
starting age?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, yeah, we start at age 2, we have a toddler class that's 2 to 4 years old.
Really? That's the
There
lowest I've heard.
Yes,
Good
yeah, so
job.
we actually so that class is more, like, centered around, like, body coordination, like, learning, like, break falls and, like, very, very basic coordination,
Well,
balance, that kinda stuff, getting them moving.
I think in gymnastics they can start from what we looked in. My daughter was 2 last year, and she could have started last year. So I know that some
Yeah.
places in gymnastics start at 2 as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
cool. So it's doable.
it is. You'd be actually surprised at what they can do. We have them sometimes doing double legs, they'll be doing backwards
Yep.
trips, like I said, break falls they'll do. It's actually pretty cool to see.
It's easier for them. They're more limber, of course.
Right.
They don't break, they bend. Um, let's see. What, where were
Yeah.
we? Oh, do you guys do no-gi and gi?
Yeah, we do gi and no gi. Our no gi days are on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then our gi days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay, got it. And what about instructors? Do you wanna highlight, like, any, instructor there?
Yeah, so
He's fine.
our head coach, Coach Shane, he teaches most of our adult classes. He does a fantastic job at it. Um, he also teaches some of our kids classes. He's not here right now, but he'll be in tonight.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Well, y'all can start just, wherever you wanna start as far as your, personal story. You can, tell us, like, kinda why and how you got into jujitsu if you like. We'd love to hear that and kinda lead up to the academy. Everybody has a really awesome story in its own right.
Yep. Yeah, no, everyone always does. It's jujitsu is a journey for everyone. I started wrestling in high school in Texas, and then I joined the military. I was stationed here at Hurlburt Fields, and I was just trying to get into something again. And in trying to do that, I found a place where I could do jujitsu at. Started training a lot, and I was like, man, I want to do this with my family. So then I started getting my son. We have another son. His name is Lincoln. He's 8 years old. And we got him into it. And then Lexi started joining, and then we started making just like a hobby habit out of it. So we were training at home. We were going to class as much as we could. It was pretty awesome. And we just kept going and going. And then we got the idea that we could open a gym. This area in Mary Esther doesn't have a lot of things for families, especially for like younger families. So we tried finding things to do. Really, it's just the beach. So we created what our family needed, which was a community, a place where kids of basically all ages have an opportunity to learn and to progress at jujitsu, and also as a person, a society of the community. And that's what we that's our, or at least my part of the journey.
Can you tell me, like, when you first got the kids involved and everything? I mean, it sounds like that was, like, already on your mind right away. What did it do for your family specifically, as a whole? What did jujitsu do for your family?
So at first, it was something that we could all do together. So I know like different people have different ideas of what fun is or like what their hobbies are, but this was something that all of us could do together. Whether it didn't matter what our interests were, it was something that we could always share together. Then it kept building into we want other people to feel this. It helped us gain confidence whenever we're talking with people. Our oldest son, like I was saying, he is kind of shy, but he has grown out of his shell, and isn't really scared of anything. He is fully confident in everything that he does.
Was that like a growth that happened right away, or was it gradual as far as, coming out of his shell kinda thing?
It was gradual. It was gradual. I will say that at first it was a little bit hard because it's a new sport. Anytime that you're doing something new, it is difficult. But then once he kept doing the repetitions of the movements, kept coming to class, and then us just training with him, us helping him out, being like, "Oh, hey," never like, "Oh, what are you doing?" It's always like, "Hey, we gotta try to fix this." But I think it really helped us get closer. It helped us get a lot closer, build a stronger bond, um, allowed us to essentially not vent, but let loose with each other, do jujitsu with each other, and it's like a fun thing. I mean, we do it at the beach, we do it in the backyard. We instead of hugs, sometimes Lincoln will come up and choke me. Uh,
Oh,
so
my daughter
it's
does the same.
yeah,
She doesn't even do jujitsu.
So actually, I want to go back if that's okay, because I do want to talk about like, so Lincoln is our oldest child. He's 9. He started training. It's been what, 4 years maybe?
yeah, 4, 5.
When he first started, like he said, he was very shy, very timid, um, kind of taken aback by the sport. Like, you know how some kids start and they're not aggressive, and it's something that they're just not ready for, you know? Like, you can prepare
Sure.
them as much as you want, but, like, when they first start rolling, it's like, "Oh my gosh, this kid is really coming at me," you know?
Yeah, like
And so
soccer
that's
would
the
be
kind of
fine, but this is different. Yeah, and
yeah,
this is not
and
rolling
so
around with my parents at home.
right.
Yeah.
So that's the way he kind of started, and like I said, that was 4 years ago, and we opened 3 years ago, so he was still pretty new when we first opened. He wasn't also, like, training super consistently before we opened, but once we opened, Lincoln, he went kind of into, like, a leader role, you know, because, I mean, we
Oh,
opened the gym, he was kind of the first kid here, you know? And
okay.
that plus jujitsu, like, he really stepped into a role of, like, he's the first kid to, like, grab the shy kid, grab the new kid and be like, "Hey, I'll be your partner." Or, like, we have them sometimes sit on the mats before class starts, like, if we have the younger class going first and he's the older class, they'll be sitting on the mats, and you know how kids just, like, naturally they'll gravitate towards their friends, you know? But Lincoln will, like, go out of his shell if there's, like, a new kid or somebody sitting by themselves and, like, grab that kid and pull them in. And jujitsu has done that for him, you know? It's kind of like, it's such a it's an aggressive sport, you know, it's a combat sport, but I think that it also, like, shows you people's souls a lot, and it will it will open your eyes to be more empathetic to another person because, like, you're close, you're not in your comfort zone anymore, and you're not in your comfort zone with another kid, another person, another adult, and so really bonds you with people in a way that, like, you're not gonna get on the street, you know? You might not be talking for most of the class, but, like, you feel like you know the person just because of, like, I mean, you do know the person just because of, like, you're figuring it out together, you're kind of in the trenches together. We've had a lot of members really compare it to, like, being in the military. We were both in the military, and it builds that camaraderie. So, we have a lot of also, like, prior service people that are like, "I've been missing this feeling," you know? Like, "I haven't had this feeling since the military, and now I'm here in this room with these people that are all working together to get better." And it just really, like, builds that camaraderie between people. In kids, like I was saying with Lincoln, like, we have it with a bunch of our kids, but with adults too. Like, and that I feel like is like the jujitsu is like the secret sauce for that, you know? Like, it's a crazy combat sport that looks so scary from the outside, but once you're in it and once you feel that, like, everybody is there, like, trying to help you, not really, like, trying to hurt you, like, we're all trying to, like I said, get better together, it bonds you with them, and it really makes you a family. Like, I know that's kind of overused in jujitsu, culture, but, like, it does, and once you feel it, you know, and you're like,
Can you what
so
you just
good.
said, it
Okay.
makes you a family. There's this aspect to it that kind of, quote, unquote, "forces you to be a family" or forces
Yeah.
you to be social at least. Can you hit on that a little bit? Like, why that's the case? How
Yeah,
does that
well,
happen?
so I think it's like you're gonna get what you put into it. Like, if you're not necessarily, like, forced to, like, if you're only showing up once a week and you're there putting in your reps and leaving, like, you're not necessarily going to, like, get in the culture as much as you can. It's just like but if you're here and you're putting in the work, like, you're gonna get out as much like any culture, you know? Like, if you're there and you're, I don't know,
Tell me
volunteering.
about, like, the specifics in a training class that kind of has that social aspect? Where is the social part in the class? Tell me that.
I don't know.
There's a lot of nonverbal.
Yeah.
So, like,
Sure.
when you're doing a move, a lot of the moves that we do are a lot of pressure, not passing, pressure positions, uncomfortable positions, or I'm trying to work for a submission. So there's a lot of nonverbal going on, like Lexi was saying earlier about how you can figure out someone's soul. When you're training, whether it's live or drilling, you're learning a lot about your partner, and you have to almost instantaneously trust them with like, okay, this is my arm. I'm going to trust you. You're going to do the right thing. We're in a controlled environment. So go ahead and try it out. And then in that type of nonverbal trust, nonverbal communication, that's where then afterwards you're like, man, great job. That was fantastic. I really felt it then. It's during like the rest time when you start talking to each other.
Yeah.
Then after jujitsu, when we finish class, that's when you're like, oh man, that was a great move that you did. Or hey, I really appreciate you not going all the way on that so that I could work my defense. Things like that. Um,
Yeah, I want to say like during class, it's like it breaks down that awkward small talk, if that makes sense. Like you're kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
once you're rolling, you're in that you're physically combating this person. Not to sound aggressive, but like you are still working together, but like you're getting past that like how's the weather, like and it
Yeah.
gets you into a deeper conversation with the person afterwards. So like he said, I don't know that there's like a huge social aspect during jujitsu. Not to say we're not like goofing off. Us girls are big talkers on the mats, but you don't need that because like he said, there's a lot of nonverbal. There's a lot of like sometimes I'll have roles where I'll just start laughing afterwards because I'm like, you got me. Like, and it's
Yeah.
just like jujitsu is like its own language. Like, I guess that's really what we're trying to say is like you kind
Yeah.
of communicate through jujitsu. Like,
mhm.
you're not
Like, of course,
speaking.
you're talking before and after training
Yeah,
and then during breaks, but you're
right,
talking specifically about when you're actually rolling, there's this
right.
nonverbal, and then in between, there's the good jobs, yada, yada, little s
Yeah.
yeah, but it sounds like the nonverbal kinda almost sparks, companionship in a way between 2 people
Absolutely.
because you're kind of understanding each other, you're forced to understand each other in the
Yeah.
moment, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And I
um,
think it takes a certain type of culture to do that. I think that all gyms are different and it's your the language that you're speaking in jujitsu, I mean, is like it's going to be different gym to gym. Like you're going to feel almost like a dialect. I know I'm going really far on this language thing, but it's like you can feel the culture difference between gyms and you're going to fit into some and you're not going to fit into others, and it takes figuring that out.
Mhm.
Cuz there's a lot of people that like they might quit jujitsu because they feel like they're not fitting in. And I don't know that it's jujitsu that's the problem. Sometimes they need to find a culture that works for them,
Mm.
you know?
yeah. There are gyms that exist that have, lots of different types of people, and then there are gyms that have mostly a certain type of person, and that's
Right.
human, natural,
Right.
to
Absolutely.
humanity to do
Yeah.
that, and it's great if you can find that gym that's mostly your type of people or more
Right.
diverse, yeah, and you can.
Yeah.
So, what about the you're talking about the military kinda, parallels there. Can you hit on that a little bit more? Like, what are those parallels between jiu-jitsu and the military? Kinda like the culture, I guess?
Uh, it's it gives like a feeling of belonging again because you know who your group is. Like when I was a mechanic for C-130s. When I was a crew chief, I knew who my group was. They were the crew chiefs. That was who I
Yep,
belonged to essentially. And so here I know that my where I fit in, where my belonging is in this academy, in this culture. And I feel confidence with that and it's like my foundation on top of other things too. But I know that this is where people care about me. I care about them. I value them and how they come into class, and I'm here to help them have a better experience or help them uplift their day a bit. And
Mhm.
so being in the military and the same culture as like jujitsu, it really, like Lexi was saying, it really depends on the gym that you find and the culture that they have there. Because you can either feel like an outcast or you can feel like you belong with them. And I feel like this is where I belong. I'm with my crew chiefs again.
We also work very hard to like create a community
Yeah.
here. So like just like in the military, when
The
you need
close
to
knit.
ride home
Yeah.
from the airport, like you're gonna reach out to that community that you're a part of, and see if there's anybody available. Same kind of thing here. Like it's not just jujitsu we do. Like we just did a rave on the mats. Like we brought in a DJ and
Really?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It was
I want
crazy.
to
We
go.
blacked out the windows. It was lights and
Yeah.
man, it was
I've
awesome.
never been to a rave before. I'm 40. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't like the biggest thing when I was in college. I would have gone if it was.
That was my
at a
first
rave.
rave.
So we do that.
Invite
We
me to the
just
next
did
one, please.
right. Absolutely. We'll let you know. But then we had a beach party where we just did like picnic games for the kids. We've done like bounce houses for the kids. We do Halloween parties, like whatever we can do to bring our people together.
Yeah.
Because jujitsu is awesome and it's awesome at bringing people together, but like we don't want it to just be bringing people together through jujitsu. And the military is like that too. They try to do like family days and other events where they're like bringing their people together and creating that community. Um, and so we just want to build something where people feel like that they can like reach out whenever something is going on. Like communication channels. We have WhatsApp groups. We have a girls chat. We have chats for all an adults chat, a kids chat. So we want to be able to connect those people. If someone owns a business in the gym, we want like our people to know, hey, like I know this person, I should use their business. And just as many like I feel like there's so many ways now the world is disconnected and like but feel like they're connected through social media that I want to like actually create those bonds. Like actually jujitsu is something that takes people away from screens, and it brings you into real
Yeah.
life. And so let's meet these other people that are here in front of us and like communicate with them on a daily basis and like check in with them. Like, are you doing okay this week? I haven't seen you in a while. And that's also like what the military in good squadrons tries to do. So I think that kind of parallels like what we have been trying to create as far as like I said, just keeping people connected.
I bet you it's done so much for you guys as parents as far as keeping the kids healthy, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because that's always on a parent's mind. Are they active
Right.
enough
Yeah.
nowadays?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of movement, a lot of learning your body. Can my body do this? Absolutely. You just got to trust it.
Mhm. Uh, what about, did you guys teach jujitsu before you started the academy?
No.
Okay. When you started teaching in the academy, what was that like? Did you love it? Instructing.
So uh, was kind of I taught a lot at being a crew chief. We had all the brand new people come in, and I remember having groups of like 5 to 15 brand new airmen and being like, all right, we're gonna learn what a plane is today. And so I did that a lot, and I really enjoyed that teaching aspect. I tried to teach another time at a wrestling place with Lincoln, and then that's when I was like, man, I like to teach. And so when we opened the gym and we started teaching, it was kind of a sharp learning curve, getting out of your comfort zone, talking in front of people, talking in front of parents, trying to get kids to understand you, and then changing what you say so that a child can understand. I really like teaching kids class, so that's what I pay attention to a lot, and it was a big learning curve, but it is and was extremely rewarding. Being able to see, like cartwheels, for instance. Cartwheels is very difficult for some people. To be able to see a child come in one day, not be able to do a cartwheel, and then gaining the trust in themselves to be able to do the cartwheel 2 weeks later. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to see uh that they're learning, that we're helping them figure out their body, that we're helping them learn. It's just amazing for me, at least.
And what about the differences between, speaking to an adult and a kid? Can you hit on that? I know you can. I used to be a teacher.
Well, I still use a lot of the same words that I use with the kids class for adults class.
Sure.
Yeah. I honestly, I think I teach a few adults classes, and I kind of feel like it's the same. The only difference is that I don't have to hit on one point as much. Whenever I'm talking to the kids, I have to make it more interesting and more fun and then hit on something a lot of times. But then whenever I'm doing it with adults, once or twice, it's a little bit easier in that way. Um, but it's very different because the kid's mindset is like, I just want to figure it out. And then an adult's mindset is like, dang, I can't, why am I not getting it?
I was gonna say, yeah, I feel like adults just come with more like I don't want to say baggage, but like they they limit
Well,
themselves way more than kids do. Like kids are more willing to try, more willing to fail. Adults get a little more hesitant. Like they're almost I feel like adults are just they're more used to getting judged.
Yeah.
And like that's not what you're experiencing when you come in here. We want you to try. You're not supposed to be good when you first start. So um sorry, he's sorry.
no, he's fine.
And so that's what I've noticed the difference is like not that adults won't try, they will, but they limit themselves. Like they'll half try, where kids are full send. And adults
Yeah.
they'll hesitate a little bit more. And
They,
they'll get it eventually, like, but it just takes them a little bit longer sometimes.
Yeah, the kids
because they're
haven't had those
adults.
instances of failure
Right.
and, an adult telling them to do something, they're more apt to do it, of course. So
Right.
that's probably the two main reasons, right? Yeah. What's been the biggest challenges over the years?
Hmm.
Or one?
Mm, I know it's different for both of us. For me, I would say one of the biggest challenges is always trying to keep it interesting. Because to me, for the kids dynamic, for me, it's easy to love jujitsu because I already like it. But I'm trying to always try to keep the attention of the child so that they love it, so that they love jujitsu. So for me, it's the creativity part of trying to be creative so that it's not always just the same thing repeated. How can I make it stick? How can I help them remember it? So for me, it's the creativity part. I struggle with being creative.
Sure.
For oh,
It's
go ahead.
probably, the kids, they just don't have the experiences to understand why jujitsu in this world is unique to things or special, right? They just know they're rolling around. Yeah. And as an
Yeah.
adult, they it's less of a push to get them interested because they know why they're there. Yeah.
Mm.
I was gonna say I feel like the biggest challenge for me, I like to think of myself as I'm the self-proclaimed culture leader of the gym.
I-
And so I think the hardest thing is like staying true to our value, not staying uh protecting our culture, I guess, protecting what we are building as far as maintaining the same sticking to our values. If someone doesn't match that, having that hard conversation with them and maybe going our separate ways if they're not invested in building, because we are very, very values based. We really want respect in the gym. We want this to be a learning environment. We don't want anyone to leave here feeling like, man, I've really like fought for my life. I'm terrified. We don't want like it's a combat
Yeah.
sport and there's already enough fear with just starting. And like I said, everyone is here to help each other. And I fiercely protect that culture. If someone like I mean, there's always going to be like a brand new guy that comes in a little aggressive, but we have those hard conversations with them of like, hey, like maybe compete if you want to be this way, but in here we're learning, we're in here we're training together. We're not going to be going home with any trophies, so like slow down, work with your partner, like, and also on the flip side, like teaching our people too that communication is so important. Like it's hard to do, it's hard to use your voice, but it's such a good skill to have too. Of like speaking up for yourself. Like no one can use your body without your consent. So if someone is going too hard, communicate with them like, hey, can we slow down? Like, this is too much for me. This is not the role I wanted to do right now. Um, and teaching our people that too. And I feel like that's the hardest thing is because it kind of it's uncomfortable. It's not an easy conversation on either side. Like they don't know what they're doing is wrong because like they might be brand new and they've seen UFC and they think that they're going to be going as hard as they can. And it's not to it's a balance of like obviously I don't want our culture to be like soft, but I also want people to train smart, train tomorrow. And if you're fighting for your life, you're really not learning. Like you're not thinking through what you're doing. You're just kind of spazzing.
Yeah.
um, and I think that's the hardest thing.
What you hit on as far as like speaking up for themselves and telling somebody you're going too hard. I mean, that's sounds like, one of those push throughs where, you're forced to evolve, you're forced to grow
Right.
in a way. Yeah.
Thing.
That you have to do that. You have to tell them
Yeah.
that, hey, you're going a little too hard if it's too much. So that's another way, people are just improving themselves uh mentally in jujitsu. What
Right.
about like why do people keep going there if you had to sum it up? Why do they love it there?
I think community.
Yeah, I was gonna say community. Yeah, community. Because there is we try to make people comfortable because this is our second home. We started this 3 years ago, and we are here just as much as we are at home. And we started with our youngest son being 1.5. So this has become our
Yeah.
second home, and we want people to be comfortable in it just like we are.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've had people actually reach out to us and be like, "We tried jujitsu, it wasn't for us, and then you guys opened. And then we've been doing it ever since." And
Mhm.
so I
Okay.
think that there's just like a culture difference of like I was saying, like we're working together. Like we really protect that culture of like you're not competing when you're at this gym. Like you're not competing with the other white belt that just walked in the door or whatever. Like you guys are here working together trying to make each other better. And we've had people reach out too and say like I never would have made it through my husband's deployment without you guys. Like this community has kept me out of this deep depression or like postpartum or any of that. Like we've had a lot of feedback where it's been our culture and our community that have really made a difference for people.
Hmm.
And to wrap it up, what would you say to somebody who hasn't trained yet and who's thinking about it?
Can I do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, actually, I'm sorry to make this long, but I didn't get to tell my story. So when I first started
Oh,
jujitsu,
sorry.
no,
I thought we
no,
both knew the story. Yeah, okay, I misunderstood.
when I
Please.
first started when I
Yes.
first started jujitsu, Kevin brought me into class that day, and I was all for it. I really wanted to do it, and then we show up, and like actually, it was probably like 5 minutes away from when we were at the gym, and I just started sobbing, and I'm like, I'm terrified. I don't want to do this. Like I
Really?
was so scared. And so he dragged me in and he was like, we're here, like just drill, like we'll get through it. You can be my partner, like we'll figure it out. And I was so like I had seen him go like to class all the time and it's just very intimidating from off the mat. And once I got on the mat and I started getting more comfortable, like it's not as scary as it looks from off the mat. So like that's how I'm wrapping into this question is like
Yeah.
don't watch from off, like watch, that's great, but like watching off the mat is not the same experience that you're gonna have when you step on the mats. Like I tell women all the time, like, cause they come in scared, they come in apologizing for taking up space, apologizing for not knowing what they're doing, like apologizing for being in the way. And it's like, embrace being a beginner, like none of us are judging you. Just step on the mat and do what you can. Like no one is expecting you to do like a crazy like berimbolo on your first day.
And
It's just
three other people out there might be the first day as well. You have no idea. Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Or it
and
might be
so
their third week, you know?
right. And we've watched it transform people. Like I said, the woman, me, I was the woman that apologized for taking up space. My confidence has changed so much from like, I'm so sorry I'm in your way. Like, I'm sorry you have to be my partner. I'm sorry I don't know what I'm doing, to like, put me with the biggest guy in the room. I got this, you know? And so it will change you as a person if you let it. But don't let the way it looks from the outside deter you from trying it. Like, just try, just go, humble yourself, be a beginner. Like, nobody is watching you. Nobody is, other than to help, nobody is judging you. And it will change your life. Like, we've had people, like we had one member that she quit smoking 9 months ago. She was pre-diabetic and now she's back to not, I don't, normal.
Yeah,
Is it normal? And it'll change your life. Like, it's more than just a sport. Like, it will completely change who you are.
It sounds like the first step on the mat is the first progression, first change in your
Absolutely.
life. Yeah, because you're having to push through that little moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. I had so much fun. I love your tie-dye shirt. We used to make tie-dye shirts when I was a kid. Man, I wish I had one still. I gotta get one. Um,
we
maybe I'll buy one
we've
from
got a
you.
few. We've got a few.
We'll
Thank y'all
send one
so
to you.
much for today. Yeah, I had fun, y'all. What's your name
Yeah,
one more time,
likewise.
buddy? Tell us your name.
Him?
Yes,
Hudson.
Hudson.
He is mayor of Southern Soul.
Yep, he is his
Fantastic.
chief mayor.
Oh man.
Arms out.
So, do you like training jujitsu? You like jujitsu?
Yeah.
You like it? Yeah,
He
you
just
like
got his
you.
first stripe.
You did? You
Yeah.
got your first stripe? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that is so cool. I bet that made you feel so good. Well, it's so nice to talk to you guys. I hope y'all have an amazing day, and I'll
Thank
talk
you
to
so
you
much.
soon, okay, guys?
Thank
Thank you for
you.
having us. We appreciate it.
No, thank you. Okay. Bye-bye, buddy. Okay. See you
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.